Good morning, everybody. My name is DynamiteDanTNT, and today I have an urge to dirge. But I'm not alone. I'm not alone. Behind me is this incredibly handsome couch, and there's also some goobers sitting on it. Introduce yourself, goobers.
Hey, my name is decosmic. I've run this game for a couple of years off and on. I am so happy to be here and support Dan in his GDQ debut, running this incredible speedrun.
I believe I'm the goober in this scenario. I am NT. I am a very long-time runner. Dan actually got me into this game, and I am one of the major routers.
Hey, I'm maxylobes. I just really like dirging.
All right, let's get into it. So time is going to start when I select normal difficulty, and let's get a countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go! Dirge. That guy in the audience gets it. Okay, so this is Dirge of Cerberus Final Fantasy VII. This is a spin-off of the Final Fantasy VII compilation. It takes place after the Advent Children movie, if you guys like that, if you're into that. This is a third-person action RPG, so understandably, a lot of people really loved this game when it came out in 2006. This is one of the most beloved Final Fantasy spin-offs. That's a joke, by the way. Not a lot of people really dig this game, but it's a cool speed game. But I'm going to throw it over to my couch because there's a lot of stuff to explain right now in the first chapter. So take it away, guys.
All right, so the first thing that we need to explain, something that you may have caught Dan do, after he started the game, he took out his memory card. So throughout the game, we have checkpoints. And if you have a memory card in, it's going to take about 5 seconds extra every single time at checkpoints. So we're going to be saving about 3 to 4 minutes just by not having a memory card in. But in return, we have to do what we call save canceling. We're going to see one here at the bottom of the stairs. It's just a prompt telling you, hey, you don't have a memory card, and would you like to insert a memory card and save? Well, obviously we don't.
Yep. So, and then the movement here, the main movement tech that we're going to be using throughout the game is called city dashing. It was a form of movement found by a runner called City Hall, where you dash, jump, aim, and then cancel that aim. And it saves, what, like 0.3 seconds over just doing regular dash jumps or something?
It's not only saving time, it's actually accelerating Vincent
there you
just
go.
slightly faster.
Awesome, yeah. So we're going to grab that MP right there. We're going to grab the fire materia. Then we're going to head right into this cutscene to pick up the first key card and go through the first gate. Card keys in this game are going to be a big resource later on as well. It's like the main sort of progression to get through these EM barriers that enemies are blocking. He's also going to point down that hallway so that enemies are going to spawn sooner as well. Take out the boxes here so we can one-shot this enemy, grab the card key, and we're on through.
As Cosmic was saying, this is a level-based game, so it's not open world. Therefore, they have to funnel you in certain ways, and that means we can predict a lot of things, such as that limit breaker. That enemy will always drop it. This Mako point is always going to be in the same spot, so on and so forth.
Yep. And we're actually going to be coming up on the first trick of the game. So the main glitch in this game is called zoom climbs and zoom hovers. Every time Vincent zooms in on his gun, you can cancel it within a frame. And every time you cancel it, Vincent will gain a little bit of height. So if you do this rapidly, he will gain height infinitely, and we can just pass over some barriers that we would. Don't mind her, she's fine. So, oh, he's gonna save her. Okay,
I wanted to save her.
it's fine. She's okay, I promise. So
did you know vampires can fly?
they can absolutely. Actually, that's canon. So here we go. The zoom climb.
So this is an extremely difficult trick. As Cosmic was saying, Dan is canceling zooms and cancels with the melee button. So this is R3, naturally bound on your controller, and circle.
Oh,
so you have to mash at about 10 APM. So if you can manage that, you can zoom climb. And then to zoom hover, as we call it, is about 5 APM. So it's a lot of button mashing in a very quick succession. And the caveat here is if Dan were to press melee twice, and melee
nice,
there
right
like
over
that,
the gate. Yeah,
he will sink to the ground. But as Dan just did, using that melee gets you a little bit of extra height. So we use it at very advantageous spots to just get over that little barrier hump.
Yep, so now he's gonna grab the long barrel. He's got an 8-chain here. So when you build chain in this game, your gun will do more damage on subsequent enemies. When that chain expires, your next shot will have a multiplier on it. So this boss is gonna,
blink and you'll miss it.
Yeah, blink and you will miss it. He's gonna be aiming his gun up to the right.
And he's mashing shoot at the same time.
Yep.
So
That was
there
the
it
boss.
is. Boss is done.
Yep, boss is down. So this next trick here is called crawling in the dark.
It's not cosmic.
It could be.
No.
We could
So
call it Hoobastank.
This was my trick. We call it walking in the dark. I really don't care that I'm wearing a Hoobastank album shirt. It's called walking in the dark. So what it means is that before the UI loads in, Dan is able to actually control Vincent without being able to see. So we're getting a little bit ahead of the game.
Yep. And now, while we take out this dude's friends, he's just going to stand here and look cool. Azul over there in the corner. We're going to shoot a fire shot at this guy. He never stood a chance. And now we're going to do another walking in the dark. And we're going to be going to get some gil as well as some more mana for the next part.
So you've probably seen Dan pick up some gil throughout the run so far. Gil is an extremely important resource, as is in most RPGs. But with Dirge of Cerberus, it's a lot harder, as I said earlier, in that the levels are structured. That means you can't really grind out money in this game. So we have to do very specific tricks, pick up very specific items, and overall just avoid damage, because the more damage we take, that means we have to spend more money on healing items, which reduces our money that we can use to upgrade our guns at the end of every chapter.
Did you see how the boxes didn't explode when I fired them?
Yes.
They were just like, nah.
Yeah, there's like a little bit of geometry in there where the fire shot could just go straight through the boxes, and sometimes it just happens. So
Dirge is a perfect game. It has nothing wrong with it.
So we're going to grab a 3 chain here because we're going to build this chain for the next boss. We don't build as big of a chain here because it's pretty much all we need to stun the boss and get it into its down phase. It's going to be a second dragonfly fight. This fight is going to be a little bit different though, since we fight it a little bit differently. It's not going to be flying overhead of us. It's more down at our same level. So the way the boss works is that if you shoot it and it's like where the landing gear would be essentially, it will go into a down state. You can shoot the weak point on the top. But there's going to be a slightly different way to kill that quickly. So Dan is going to walk over to the right here, and then he's going to be positioning himself correctly on these boxes. I'll let him concentrate here, and I'll explain.
There's the down shot.
Yeah.
Quickly melee that. Fire shot across the way. Sneak it right under the wing. Unfortunately, the fire shot did not want to play nice, but it's okay. Dan's going to be able to get the last shot in. Oh, just barely. Fine. That is a very tight trick.
Yep. But still, boss goes down. All good. Oh my goodness! Wait, hold up.
Yeah, so
okay, the
Dragonfly can be very strange in that if it queued up an attack pattern before it died, it can finish that attack pattern.
Oh gosh, I did not realize that.
All right, Cosmic, would you like to explain the stage results?
There's ranks.
There are ranks
and stuff, and that they rank you on stuff like how that we definitely saved that little girl earlier.
So every level has bonus missions. The bonus missions actually have no bearing on this ranking whatsoever. The ranking is based on things like accuracy, the amount of enemies killed, the amount of critical hits you have, the amount of Mako point you use, the amount of magic you use separate from the Mako point, and then it grades you S to D, I believe. S will give you a 5,000 gil bonus, which is massive, and then A is a measly 1K, so we don't want A's where we don't need them.
Yep. And this is going to be everybody's favorite part of their action RPGs, where we go on a turret and we shoot some enemies and stuff. So we're going to throw it over to Cell for some donations.
Absolutely. We have $5 from Mutsky saying, "Hey Dan, it's your dear Final Fantasy Speed Pal Mutt coming in hot for this base Dirge run. Best of luck. I've been so excited for this run and can't wait for everyone to enjoy it. Keep it real, everyone. You know what time it is. It's Dirgin' time."
Thanks, Mutsky.
And I just want to give a quick reminder to everyone that we have a whole bunch of incentives open right now. Of course, we have that Fight Sauron one for Middle-earth Shadow of War. We're getting close to meeting that. Keep on donating towards it. But we also have new ones. Bonus Final Fantasy VII DLC level for Power Wash Simulator, Hatsune Miku skin for Half-Life 2, and as well, bonus game will be later today if we meet that incentive. When you donate, don't forget to scroll down and click to assign your donation to an incentive.
You can get one more in.
Absolutely. We have $25 from Code, who says, "I've had such an urge to Dirge. Good luck, Dan. Make sure to flex on Rosso."
So everybody watching at home, I hope you're paying attention to Dan's chain. He was up in the 40s. Look at the damage he's going to do to this first dog.
Blap.
Ka-cha!
So that was a melee attack. They normally do about 20 damage. That did 1,400. That is the power of chains as they build exponentially. There is a upper limit. I unfortunately do not remember, but you can, I believe, underflow your damage into actually healing enemies that you did so much damage.
That sounds about right for a Final Fantasy. So here on this boss, leading up to this next boss, who's called Crimson Hound, we're going to build about an 18 chain. If we build more than that, we can actually underdamage the boss, as NT just mentioned. We can do that possibly. All right, up and all right, 17 chains, fine. Yep.
Crimson Hound is a little bit different of a boss compared to Dragonfly. All the bosses are very strange. Some are humanoids, some are animals, and then some are machinery, such as the Dragonfly in the last chapter. So the Crimson Hound is going to start on a...
I forgot to buy the sniper scope. We're going to YOLO this.
It's all right, you got it. So he's going to start on a pillar, and that's why we can't one-shot the Crimson Hound. If we were to be able to one-shot the Crimson Hound, there would be a card key drop up on that rock, and we would soft lock. And then Dan is going to shoot these regular hounds. If he's the first one killed, we'll always drop the Thunder Materia, and Crimson Hound drops the exit card key.
Clean. Didn't even need it. Yep. Didn't even need sniper
Didn't need a sniper scope.
Never doubted.
So we're going to be running right into another boss. This is the Pegasus Riders, again, following the pattern of no boss is ever the same. Always keep them guessing. So they're motorcycle riders, essentially. He's going to try and get in front of them to get critical shots. And as you can see, he's one-shotting all of them. That is intended. Great fight.
That was an incredible Pegasus Riders. Oh my goodness.
So the Pegasus Riders normally circle you, so you have to stand in front of them to get the first one that's critical, and then after that, they basically fall in line. So getting that first shot is always the hardest, and it was a great job by Dan to get that. As you can see, we got the S rank. There is a guild reward of 5,000, and then we have two choices at the end of every stage. We can either take EXP or convert the gained EXP to gil. The gained EXP is based on the damage we deal to enemies. So most often we're going to be taking the gil because, as you saw, there's a third page called upgrade. So Vincent has his titular Cerberus gun, and funny enough, he has 3 of them.
Yeah, he has, I think, like, there's a rifle and then there's also a machine gun.
Yeah, so the Hydra and the Griffin, we don't show them. They're useless, pretty much. So you have 3 different upgrade path trees with your Cerberus. You can take the powered Cerberus, the speed Cerberus, and I believe it's a weight Cerberus.
Yeah, I believe weight Cerberus.
The other 2 don't really matter. We care about powered Cerberus.
Yeah, exactly.
More, big number. We want number go up.
We want the numbers. The other thing, too, with like leveling up Vincent, it really only affects how much health he has. So we take a couple of level ups throughout the run. On levels like Silent Edge right here, where there's not nearly as much gil reward, but in the other levels, pretty much going to be taking the gil. Here's another big zoom climb and a zoom hover. It's going to allow us to skip. Oop, hold on.
So this is going to be a cutscene skip plus a
big
the
section.
hardest one in the run.
Yeah.
It's a big auto walking segment. Normally a child would spawn out after the cutscene.
One more attempt.
You have to find him and then lead him around to get a card key. It's a big time waste. So the skips that the kid plus the sniper's actually spawning from the cutscene. Normally this is a very dangerous area when you're only at 780 HP.
Let me try one more time.
Yeah, you got this. You got it, Dan. Let's go.
Again, this trick is incredibly difficult.
Yep.
This is very precise mashing. Dan cannot press melee twice or zoom twice, or else you get this. It's very unfortunate, very difficult.
Okay, actual last attempt, and then I'll plug in the other controller. Okay.
So something that may not be noticeable on stream is that Dan actually has a keyboard plugged in. This is one of the very few games on PS2 that is actually keyboard and mouse compatible. So we found it easier to mash with keyboard than on controller. It's obviously player preferred, but we do have a turbo controller that Cosmic has brought in case of this scenario.
Hold on, I got you.
You got me.
Yeah, hold on. Did you plug it all the way in? Yeah, it should work. All right, that's not it. It's not doing anything. It's fine. Oh, there's that. I don't know what, it's trying to find something. Should be good. Yeah. I don't know why it's not doing anything. Oh, hold on. Might be good now. Try it. Yeah, I think it's the USB port might be kaput now. What a time.
I'll just try it again on the regular controller.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, that's cool. Oh, well.
Power through it.
Yep.
You got this, Dan.
Oh, well.
Okay.
So if you're wondering why Dan is resetting back to those boxes, you actually need a massive amount of height. And zoom climbing up to this height is not preferred. As difficult as this trick is, you would have to take about 30 seconds of pure mashing to gain the verticality that you need to get over this EM barrier.
There we go.
So at least we're over the cutscene skip right
good.
now. So
Yeah, we're good.
That is the most important part.
All right.
So we can drop down and just go vertical up from here. It's not nearly as high now that we're over the cutscene.
Come on, dude.
I did say vampires could fly. I did not say that it was very easy for vampires to fly.
Oh,
beyond.
yes, let's go. Yes. Hell yeah. All right, so now we're going to be getting through this area of some sniper enemies, and they're not very nice. They do like 300 damage a pop.
As you can see, Dan went from 600 HP to 200 in about a split second.
Yep.
So he has a trigger finger on his D-pad. That is how you control the item management. There's another high potion in this box. It's very necessary. We're going to round the corner, and this is going to be another cutscene skip into a save cancel.
And then, yep, there's the, and then the
You know what they say, guys? It's all Dirge Hill from here.
A dirge a day keeps the doctor away, man.
Who's booing? Got that swag shot.
All right.
The Mako point.
And then we're going to build another chain here for the heavy soldier that's going to be coming up at the end of this level. It's going to start right about here. I think we're looking for about a 10 chain or so. Ow.
Yeah, sometimes the enemies are very unkind. They will take awkward walk patterns, and sometimes they just straight up run away as if they know you're trying to build a chain. But the nice thing with chain building in this game, as you can see, there are explosive barrels. They do count. So objects that you can explode will add to the chain. You do not always need enemies. And this is going to be a really blink and you miss it. Yep. So what Dan is going to do is walk in the dark, dash forward, aim in, go for the heavy armor soldier's face.
Dead, dude.
Dead.
He is gone. He did not even have time to aim his rocket launcher.
I barely had time to explain what was happening.
All right, so this next level coming up actually used to be super long. It's called, Headquarters Under Siege, and there used to be these winding like tunnels that we have to go through and climb up all this way. But the end of the level is always loaded in and always active, and the game is totally fine with being sequence broken. So we're just gonna zoom climb over a door into the last area, and it cuts the mission down by what would you say, like
80%?
80%, yeah, it's like 5 minutes or something. Yeah, it's
This went from like a 13-minute mission down to a 5.
Yeah, I think 3 actually. It's like wild. Once it loads in, because PS2 loads.
We do have multiple categories. This is 80%. We introduced this after zoom climbing was found, so now the old category is known as no major glitches. And we were talking, zoom climbing saves about anywhere between 15 to 20 minutes over no major glitches, so it's massive time saves. But of course, the caveat is, can you mash?
There we go. And he's in, dude. End of the level, right there. So now we're going to be going down to build a chain for the boss Shulk here, and it's going to be starting like right about here.
And we're also going to be picking up a very important accessory, as you see in the bottom left, the power cross.
Yep.
So this is going to be a bit of a tight chain. So there are 2 turrets that Dan is passing by that are dead now. Fire shots take them out in 1 shot, thanks to the chain. And he's not going for it, so there is no safety barrel, and he still gets the chain.
Who needs safety strats, dude?
What's a safety barrel? Hang on.
So there was an explosive barrel behind Dan as he was waiting for that barrier to go down. It is a very strict timing to get that. So this is going to be another blink and you miss it. This is Shulk. I am actually the one that found out how to chain shot this boss. She is very atrocious in that she has a lot of invuln frames. So if you fight her normally, you can take anywhere up to a minute to fight this boss when she should take about 25 seconds.
Yeah, the fight's going to be less time than the load screen here, actually.
Yes, that's actually very true.
Yeah, this is like one of the scariest things I've
And
seen
she's
in my
dead.
life. There we go. She's dead. Gone, dude. Absolutely gone. She just hits him with the, no, Vincent, why would you?
So you might have seen Dan was meleeing her at the very end. Even though she was dead, by meleeing her, we are still accumulating damage on her, so that is getting gil. It's a very small amount, but as I said at the beginning of this run, every gil matters. So anywhere you can get extra damage, you are going to take it.
Yep. And Azul the Cerulean here, let's see if he does the Sunday stroll. The Sunday stroll is...
He's Sunday strolling.
He's strolling up, dude. We're good. This is good RNG right here. So now he's going to take some more damage from Barrel, and he's down again. That boss specifically only takes damage, really, like big damage from barrels in that fight, so you have to use those to fight him.
He actually has plot armor technically at this point in time, so if you were to shoot him, he would be only taking about 15 damage, and if you melee him, it's, I think, less. So we have to pray for what we call the Sunday stroll. Sometimes Azul will stand there for anywhere up to 30 seconds and shoot his little gun just because he wants to.
Or pound the ground.
He's just out there living his best life, man.
All right, so here we're going to grab the Materia Floater and the Materia Booster, which we're going to put on Gun 2 later. This is actually going to be a pretty awesome level, Banner of Despair. This is where we're going to set up a lot of the gun stuff. We're going to see some of the keycard preservation for later on in the run as well. There's the Sahagins as well. We're not going to eliminate all of them, though, just a few of them.
So that is a safety Phoenix down. You can see there is a Phoenix down icon just above Dan's bullet count in the bottom left, the little wings with the halo on it. That means if he were to lose all his HP, he will stand back up after about 5 seconds with full HP.
Yep. So now the Sahagins here are going to drop a key card. We could technically skip this fight if we had wanted to. It's actually optimal to, and no major glitches, because you can just kind of jump over a barrier from like a vantage point. But we need the key card from this fight for later in the game.
Yeah, in the words of Mickey Mouse, it's a surprise tool that will help us later.
So the neat thing about keycard preservation is that this game was actually rather smart in how it handled sequence breaking. So as you saw, there was a card key drop from the Sahagin. That was supposed to take down the gate that Dan just zoom climbed over. There's another Sahagin coming up that will drop another key card because there's supposed to be a little off exploration section that you can do to get a little bit of extra gil and items. So we're going to kill that Sahagin and grab that key card. So we'll have 2. We're never going to use those 2. At the end of the stage, the game is going to say, hey, we should take away 1 key card because they may have an extra from this little exploration section. Well, we have 2, so that means we have an extra one going in the next stage. And as Dan said, that's a surprise tool for later.
So we have a couple times over donations here. I think we're just kind of walking, so.
Excellent. We have some wonderful puns coming in, so I hope you like puns, Dan.
I love puns.
We have $50 from Side of Beans, who says, what do you call it when Vincent runs out of minutes on his flip phone? A Dirge of Cerberus. Good luck on the run. And we have, yay, a Final Fantasy run. I've been saving a bad pun for this. What is a Moogle's favorite cocktail? A margarita.
Nice.
This is an excellent GDQ, y'all. Keep up the great work. That was $10 from Anonymous. Thank you both so much for those donations.
So here, Dan is actually going to set up all 3 guns that he needs. So he's going to put the Materia Booster and Materia Floater on the second gun. He's going to put Power Cross and long barrel on the third gun. And so he's going to basically have a setup of 3 guns for the rest of the game. The first gun is going to be our primary physical damage dealer, as well as when we need to use Fire Shot for some utility. The second gun is going to be using Thundaga. It's going to be our primary crowd control and magic damage dealer. And then the gun 3 is going to be our primary melee attack. We're not going to use melee a ton during this, but Power Cross will amp up Vincent's melee attack, so we will use gun 3 when we need to deal some more damage like that. It could also be our secondary physical attack as well.
In the beginning of the stage, Dan bought a Materia Floater and a Materia Booster. As in classic Final Fantasy fashion, there is Fire, Fyra, Faraga, Thunder, Thundaga, and so on and so forth. So if you look in the top left, you'll see LV3 standing for level 3, so that tells Dan that he does have Thundaga equipped. And if you were to switch back to gun 1, it'll say level 1 again, meaning he only has a Fire Shot. And each level of magic will take different amounts of MP. As Cosmic was explaining earlier, levels really only gain us HP. Vincent has a static 100 MP bar.
Let's go, dude.
Great climb. So Thundagas will do 33 MP, and Fire Shots do about 10. And we're going into a
Ketchi.
brand
you
new
guys
section.
like Ketchi?
Ketchi. Katesith. Ketchi.
Do you guys like stealth where it doesn't belong?
Not really, but I mean, we got to do it anyway.
There's nothing wrong with this game, I promise.
Oh, yeah, what a game it now.
All right, so we're going to go through the catchy part right here.
So there is actually speed tech here, so Dan is going to hesitate just a second because there was a load wall right above that wall. And we're going to try and go for a very, very swag jump right here. Nope. It is incredibly tight. I found that maybe a year ago now, and I don't want to say frame perfect, but it is very, very few frames that you're allowed to get that jump.
My favorite part about this is that, when it's fading to black, catchy can actually be shot during the fade to black. Oh.
So
I've died during that fade to black a couple of times.
with walking in the dark, it doesn't just apply to us. Some enemies are still active.
Yep.
And unfortunately, our hurt box is still active as well.
So this is going to be short basement. There's normally a huge mine section of this level that you would have to go through and shoot up some bombs and everything in order to get them out of Vincent's way and cross a bridge and all this other fun stuff. But we're just going to go through the ceiling in typical vampire fashion, and we will just be going
As vampires do, you just clip through the ceiling. Nosferatu is just like...
Bonus fun fact for you, you can actually find Vincent's coffin in this basement. And if that wasn't a good enough hint for you, this is the Shinra Manor.
Hey. All right, so here we go.
So we got to get above the ceiling, not just above, but well above. And then there is a pillar that juts out to the left, so Dan's got to maneuver around that, which makes this very tricky.
Yep.
If I didn't explain it well enough earlier, zoom climbing is not only hard because you have to mash, it's hard because you also have to move. If a lot of you out there are two-hand mashers like Dan and I, this is even harder. So Dan is switching to one hand as he gains his height, and there
he
it
did
is.
it. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
Incredibly hard trick.
Yeah, it is actually physically taxing when you are really getting into the mashing.
Yeah, it's one of those things where during the course of a regular run, it's spaced out enough that it's not really an issue. But if you're resetting a lot, then it's oh man.
I would
gracious.
say 3 hours of doing attempts is my absolute limit, or otherwise I'm just losing stamina.
Yeah, there you go. All right, so we're gonna go for the second chain in this area. There is. He's gonna hit him with the Robert Pattinson Vengeance shot right there. And then we're going to start building the chain. Nice. And this is going to lead us to the Black Widow fight. We need a 14 chain to deal the max damage to this boss. This boss actually has 10,000 health, and the most that we can do right now with Thundaga is 9,999. So Dan's just going to have to shoot the boss once after doing the Thundaga. This isn't going to be another sort of blink and you'll miss it because Dan's going to actually be doing a Walking in the Dark shot on the Black Widow. There's also a cool song that kind of just kicks up here out of nowhere. Just dun 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 dun. All right, and here we go. Here's the boss after this next room here.
All right, make sure you peel your eyes open because, again, it's going to die. And
Yeah,
now.
there it goes by.
It's already dead. Again, Dan is meleeing the boss after its death animation, just getting a little bit more gil.
Yeah. So before we get into this next mission, we can actually get a couple of donations in here too.
Absolutely. We have $50 from Kay the Katsuni, who says, this marathon needs more Final Fantasy. And by Final Fantasy, I mean Final Fantasy VII. And by Final Fantasy VII, I mean Power Wash Simulator. That is reference to one of our open incentives right now, the bonus Final Fantasy VII DLC level for the Power Simulator. But I also want to mention the Middle-earth Shadow of War Fight Sauron incentive. We are getting so close, everyone, to meeting that. We are $1,269.25 away from meeting it. So keep assigning your donations towards that incentive. Let's get that met so that we can get more SGDQ.
All right, so this mission right here, this is Deep Ground Strikes Back. This is going to be where that card key preservation that NT was talking about comes into play. So we're going to have a few enemies here at the very start after all of these cutscene skips, and we're going to have to activate a barrier to use up the extra key card that we have. The last enemy that we kill in this first area is going to drop a second key card for us. Normally you would be using it on the EM barrier up here, but since we preserved that key card from Manor of Despair, now we can carry that key card to the the next EM barrier that the game is going to throw at us. And typically what would happen in this area is that you would have to go down to this encampment, and then you'll go out to fight like all these choppers and everything. You hop on another turret section. It's something like 5 minutes long.
It's a very long section.
Yeah.
And the extra caveat with that particular barrier, I did say at the end of Manner of Despair, the game is conscious enough to take away one key card. But they added a second measure to make sure that you weren't sequence breaking. And the reason we have to take down that EM barrier is because that takes away all of your key cards. So if you had 9, you no longer have 9. That's why we can't kill that last enemy and take his key card until we've taken down the barrier.
Yep. So we're going to go through here, and then Dan is actually going to be looking to kill 4 of these machines up here because they each have a big drop of gil on them. I believe it's 1,000 each.
Yep.
So you're going to get 4,000, max here, but that's going to be nice for the gil route. So dropping on in, Batman style.
And he's holding there just a second because the machine enemies do explode and they can hurt Vincent. And it's quite a lot of HP taken away. It's something around 400, I believe.
Yeah, it's a lot. So got all 4,000 gil. He's going to head on into what would normally be the auto-scroller section. And in this, we did like some backtracking to get some resources and everything. But instead, we're just going to go over to this EM barrier, and the game is going to be super nice to us and just let us use the key card on the EM barrier. And there we just skip the entire section.
That's 4 minutes right there saved.
Right there, done. It's one of those skips, too, like in a game where it's like, yeah, it worked because nothing really happened. All right, so before the next boss here, we can get in a donation as well, so...
Absolutely. We have $50 from Batman, who says, never thought I'd see Dirge of Cerberus on a GDQ. Let's go!
Let's go.
We dirging.
We dirging. It's dirging time. Anybody out there dirging in the audience tonight?
So this section is a bit of a puzzle in that there is a set amount of enemies and there is a certain spawn that they will all appear from, and the last enemy killed will always be the one that drops the card key.
Yeah, this is going to be another Black Widow fight. This is going to be, 2 shots instead of 1 on the Thundaga.
So you might see it for a whole nother 2 seconds instead of 1. It's
going to be wild, dude. Whoa.
Do you know there's bosses in this game?
I did.
What? I haven't seen any.
I thought they were just targets, dude.
They were just regular enemies, but they got a visible HP bar because they're special. It's not because they're bosses.
You're also going to see in the bottom left here, it looks like Dan's chain has disappeared. Have no fear. It's just a visual bug.
This is also going to be kind of scary for viewers at home in that Dan is ignoring every single enemy, and that's on purpose. We don't need to take care of enemies. What's HP? It's just another resource.
Bam. Done.
I don't even think that was 2 seconds.
No.
All right, and so we're going to be approaching the end of Deep Ground Strikes Back here. I love how that part right there has a load wall. Sometimes it will just body block you, but basically once we get past this bit of enemies here,
I'd say this should look familiar, but this is HQ Under Siege.
Yeah,
we didn't see this stage.
No, we did not. Not really. No. And once we get past these guys, we'll be out of here. I do want to take a second to say that, like, the original Japanese release of this game was entirely different than how it is right here. You couldn't, like, shoot in the air. You couldn't aim. You couldn't melee. Vincent had a roll instead of a dash. And so, like, the game that we have right now is the result of Square Enix understanding, like, and rebalancing the original Japanese release of the game. And they did an incredible job with the rebalance that they did. And, while the game still has some flaws, it's... like, the zoom climbing is possible because of the updates that they made to the game, including, rebalancing some of the weapon parts. And,
the most important one to me, Vincent was made 20% faster
just overall.
in the international version. Just imagine running 20% slower. I understand that Dan is doing city dashing, but Vincent is quite slow in the original JP release.
Yeah, it's such a great glow up for the game. The run that we have now is just possible because of that version happening. This is the Shara. This is basically the walk and talk section of the game. So Cell, we're going to throw it over to you for a little while.
Awesome. Well, we have $25 from Bruno Fightmaster, who says, can't wait to see Vincent Valentine blaze through Dirge of Cerberus. Good luck, Dynamite Dun, on your run. And we have $5 from Dashier, who says, my favorite part is when Cerberus said, it's Dirgin time, and dirged all over those guys.
My goodness.
Incredible. Keep on going. You probably can get like 3 or 4 in.
Awesome. We have $100 from Fearin, who says, I was playing Dirge of Cerberus when my PS2 broke, so someone show me how it ends, quick. And we have $10 from Flying Hawaiian 916, who says, just finished this game for the first time the other week, and I just had to see it get beaten in probably more than half the time it took me. Good luck on the run, Dynamite.
I feel that on a spiritual level because I too also immediately look up speedruns as I finish games.
You can keep it going.
All right, I would like to just remind everyone that we do have an incentive open for a bonus game that if we get it met, it's going to happen later tonight. It is for Destiny. We are just starting to get there. We need to get $75,000 total to that incentive in order to see that run. So if you want to see that, don't forget, when you go to donate, scroll down and assign your donation towards that incentive.
Yeah, I want to see that. Let's get that going. All right, so we're going to do a little bit of cutscene skipping here.
To quickly explain what Dan is doing, he has to talk to very specific NPCs at very specific times. So he already talked to Yuffie, he talked to Reeve, and then he went into Shulk's room but did not talk to Shulk. That was very important. You do not have to talk to Shulk the first time. Now, on this comeback around here, we have to talk to Sid twice, Yuffie twice, and then go talk to Shulk, and then we have to take a walk down to the engine room. And then we get some story, which, I'll be honest, I don't really know the story of this game.
I don't remember it.
There's a group called Deep Ground, and they're coming to take over. And there are 2 major villains that Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade fans may be familiar with.
Yeah. They're coming to rid the world of Dirge, and Vincent is trying to stop them.
Yeah, isn't Shulk in like a neck brace?
Yeah, she's recovering from the chain shot.
We're going to go check on her real
She's
quick.
in urgent care.
All right, brother. I see you.
I was not familiar with your game.
See, there she is, man.
She's still recovering.
She was like, man, that was a 15 chain. What are you doing to me?
The lights weren't even on, man.
We came to Dirge today.
We did.
Dirge we shall.
And all you viewers at home, I hope you are dirging as well.
For I am become Dirge, climber of Zooms. All right, so we're just gonna go ahead and dip our toes in the engine room before we get into the next section. I think we got time for 1 donation.
Absolutely. We have $10 from Snugglebus, who says, chugga chugga Dirge, Dirge. I think we're calling for a $10 donation train. I'm not sure about that, but let's put that towards that Destiny bonus game incentive.
Absolutely. I would also like to see Destiny. All right, so that is going to be the end of the Shera. And now we are going to get back to regular combat. So the next mission is going to be Midgar Assault. So NT, you want to take this one a little bit?
Yeah, so this will be taking place in the train graveyard section of Final Fantasy VII. We will be facing yet another new boss type at the end, and this will be a lot of very precise tricks that accumulate to one very clean mission. And this will also be the mission where we break Vincent the hardest. So the boss at the end of this stage has a very weird XP conversion. So every enemy has a multiplier to their gil. So say an enemy has a 1.0 multiplier, you do 10 damage to them. That means you get 10 gil. So the Shrikes, I don't remember the exact multiplier, is something crazy like 1.6, and we're going to be doing about 8,000 to 9,000 damage on 4 of them. So as you can imagine, that's going to be a lot of money, and that will carry us through the rest of the run. Before we can get to that point, we're going to be running past a lot of enemies, so this will be a lot of careful HP management. We're going to shoot one guy right here and ignore the rest. Now, this may seem very strange, as Dan is very close to death right there. Just going to squeak on by right here. Don't mind us. We're just doing a little dirge.
As a treat.
We're going to run up to this EM barrier here and do another zoom climb. So this is actually skipping 3 different sections. Had Dan killed all those soldiers back there, it would have spawned a cutscene. So WRO is the opposition force, similar to what Avalanche was in 7. So they're fighting Deep Ground. They would normally come out and assist Vincent and then push their way up through Train Graveyard. We skipped that, and then if you were to normally lower that barrier, they would run up to this gate, and then we would see what we call crab Roombas. Is that what we decided on?
Yeah, crab Roombas. Yeah.
So we call them crab bots, crab Roombas. It's basically just a red crab Roomba. So we're skipping this as well, and then we're going to be going into yet another dangerous section. A lot of Midgar Assault is just high damage, and the tricky part is we're not really allowed to kill any enemies. Because once we get beyond this section, Dan needs to build a very specific chain and carry it through about 2 minutes of the stage.
Yep, so unfortunately he did melee there, so he is going to have to do a backup chain here, but nothing doing it, it'll still be all right for the boss. This was actually a concern when we routed Zoom climbs into there. It's like, what if you do end up meleeing? And Dan was actually the one that found the backup chain on this level. So, we're just going to be moving on through. And there's just going to be some movement here. We are going to pick up some backup gil as well. I think there's 6,000 or so that we're going to be able to pick up in one of these areas up here. I think it's like right over to the left.
So there's also a limit breaker. I realized we haven't talked about limit breakers at all.
Talked about limit breakers, yeah.
You think you're playing Vincent. You know, I want to play as all the beast forms. Sorry to say, in the speedrun you don't. So there is a limit breaker. Your standard limit break is the Gallian Beast. Something about the story that hasn't really been explained because we've been skipping all the cutscenes is that Vincent was carrying the Chaos Materia. So Rosso took that from him in the Manor of Despair. So he's been shifting in the story in and out of a Chaos form, and we'll see that much
1 second,
later.
NT. Did you say chaos?
I did say chaos. Any Jacks in the crowd today?
Yeah, Stranger in Paradise fans out there. Woo! I hear that.
All 2 of you.
There's 2 on the couch, too, so there's 4 of us. We are many.
Jacks unite.
Yeah. Jack Final Fantasy, my favorite protagonist.
All right, so there was the chain spent on the commander, and we're immediately going to expend that chain on this commander to one-shot him and start the next chain. And this will be leading into our boss of the stage, known as the Shrikes.
Yeah, and the important thing about killing that guy where he was standing was that he doesn't acknowledge us. He can't acknowledge us yet. So otherwise, those enemies would have, like, you know, left the hallway where they were, and it would have made this 10 chain impossible.
So Dan is going to be moving to a very specific point in the stage and then aiming at a very specific spot and listening for an audio cue. So when we skip the cutscene, we're going to need a little bit of quiet time.
Have your orders. Don't let him get away.
There it is.
Nice,
That's all
excellent.
4.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Excellent.
The fight may not be done, but the hardest part is over.
Very cool. So
that is incredibly precise. Shout outs to Shadeup for finding that setup. So if you look very closely before Dan skips it, it should be around 60,000 gil that he just attained.
yeah, it's a massive amount. This was another thing too, you know, when we first started routing Zoom climbs and Zoom hovers.
75,000. I was way under. So we're going to be putting the power Cerberus all the way to its maximum. We're going to be putting our barrel up to the highest that we can and seeing if we could also get the power booster to its gamma form. So we have now basically put Vincent at his final form halfway through the game.
Yeah, it's like at first there was concern of you know Gil because we were doing a lot less fights and dealing less damage to enemies, so there was less Gil at the end of some of these levels. But that Shrike strategy just completely solved any Gil and upgrade path concerns that anybody might have had.
Not only just the damage on enemies, we completely skipped HQ under siege.
That's true. Yeah,
there was a lot of game that would have dropped. A lot of money, a lot of items that we could have used.
No, I didn't get it.
So that was a little cheeky jump. You can actually make it so that none of these enemies spawn. It's not a big deal if it doesn't happen. All that happens is that you have maybe 7 enemies and then the last one drops a card key.
Yeah. All right, so coming up here is everybody's, every runner's favorite part of the game, the RNG barrier section. These barriers will sort of ebb and flow which ones are active and which ones are not. And the entire time that you got to run through them to the end of this bridge, there are these floating mines around here.
Now, Cosmic, I have to ask you the bingo question here. Why doesn't he zoom climb?
Because you're kind of betting at that point on the RNG being bad. So the net time could be worse.
Hey, that was pretty good.
That was an incredible
that
barrier.
was really good, actually. Never mind.
So I tested zoom climbing in that room, and I was averaging about 40 seconds. And the barrier to actually get over...
What is he doing?
So that enemy, for some reason, is hard-coded to slide in without a memory card in place. Not sure why. But the barrier room that we just skipped, I would always average on 40 seconds. The best time you can get is about 20 seconds. So we find it better to hedge our bets and save our stamina to just go through the barriers instead of trying to zoom climb.
Yep, absolutely. So now he's going to shoot this person and then go to shoot the second from the left enemy here that always drops the key card. And then we're going to be heading down the elevator here. If Vincent wants to cooperate.
Dan, do you have an ether?
I do. Thank you.
Yep.
So as I was saying earlier with the different levels of spells, Thundiga is a 33 cost spell, and we can only have 100 MP. So we have to be very careful with our MP management because our only resources to regain MP in normal mode is to either hit a Mako point or use an ether. And ethers are 1,000 each, so very expensive. We don't want to use ethers unless we have to.
Mm-hmm. You want to explain limit flex?
Absolutely. So we are coming up to what I think is the coolest trick in the game. So it's still using a chain shot, but Rosso is hard-coded around after taking 4,000 HP to go into a second phase. But what if I told you we can skip that? So Dan is riding up an elevator. We're going to see a bunch of boxes, 2 heavy armor soldiers, and then the crab Roombas that I mentioned earlier. We're going to build around a 14 or a 15 chain. And then what we're going to do is we're going to use Limit Breaker, believe it or not. So there is a 15. So Dan needs to hit a headshot on Rosso, and within a few frames after that, immediately activate Limit Breaker. For whatever reason, that confuses the game's code and forces Rosso to die even though the HP doesn't show it. So, gentlemen, shall we give a demonstration? So we're going to just stand here for a second, wait for Rosso to shoot.
You're on my court, bro.
Sorry. So unfortunately, we didn't get the headshot right there. It has to be a headshot. Rosso has 17,000 HP. With a 14 chain with our equipment, we should be doing about 23,000 if all 3 bullets hit.
Some of the load screens in this.
Which Cerberus is a 3-burst gun. I believe I failed to mention that at the beginning of the game. So it is possible for all 3 shots to go different directions and hit different body parts.
I got the glitch.
Oh no, not the glitch.
All right. We're getting plot.
All right. Sit back down for a sec.
Right.
Yeah.
So we can learn the story together, everybody in crowd. So this is Rosso.
I won't be doing that. I won't be learning the plot.
I'll be honest, even though I know that's Rosso, I don't know what she's doing here.
Yeah. So there's so when you skip the cutscene here, or if you try to restart the checkpoint, then skip the cutscene, because it was loading in another, load screen or another cutscene when you killed like the first phase of Rosso, it won't let you skip this cutscene. So it's fine, nothing doing, but.
At the very least, Rosso is the coolest of the bunch.
This is true, yeah.
She is criminally underrated, criminally underused in this game.
All right, so here we go. Attempt 2. We'll sit down and do it. Yeah, we'll flex from the seat.
Dan, you don't have limerick. Yep.
Thanks. I missed.
Unfortunately, missed the shot.
All right, so you're gonna have to just restart checkpoint again, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
We'll give it one more try.
Yeah, that's fine.
Oh, I can't.
Oh, you gotta transform. Yeah. Can't pause during that.
No, I can't pause.
You can't pause at all.
No, because
You're gonna have to do the
glitch.
fight normally.
Oh
Do
well,
the fight normal.
Unfortunate.
Oh, I can't pause at all. Actually.
That's strange.
Let's do this.
Yeah, because
I'm gonna restart the console. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, get up for Dan, everybody.
Yeah, Dan.
I can't stress enough that we have taken this game and made it probably the hardest form it can ever be at the point that it's at. Every trick that we do needs to be extremely precise. There's so many reset points because if you fail strats like this, then you're losing minutes on minutes. So great job to Dan for being able to get it as consistently as he has today.
Absolutely.
Would you like a quick donation?
Absolutely,
Yes, please.
Yeah.
All right, we have $25 from Dante, who says, "Loving this Dirge May Cry run."
Accurate.
Very fortunately, this game has a very robust checkpoint system, and so I can just plug the memory card back in and load a checkpoint within like a minute or two from where we left off.
Yeah, so we're going to get another shot at limit flex here, right?
Yep.
Excellent. Love to see it.
I've been waiting for this, darling.
There
it is. All right, boys. So that is what we call the limit flex.
Let's go.
So as I was saying, you can see Rosso still has HP on her bar. No, she's dead. She's on the ground.
Done.
So the difficulty with Limit Flex, as you can see, Rosso is the fastest boss in the game. She very quickly darts from side to side, so it was actually way better for Dan to wait to line up the proper headshot than to try and chase her down. The risk of missing the shot goes up way higher if you're trying to chase her down.
I don't blame her. I'd be pretty scared.
Yeah. It's horrifying, honestly.
Dan with a controller? No way.
What are you going to do when the Dirge Mania comes for you, Maxi?
Oh no.
Dirge Mania is sweeping the nation, man.
I've been infected with the Dirge.
All right, so an Empire in Ruins.
I have to say it. This is the best song in the game, hands down.
You think so?
Yeah, absolutely. Trespasser?
Oh yeah, it's a banger.
This is a banger.
Yeah. This is the dun 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 dun, right? Yeah.
Just listen to it.
Okay.
You'll catch on.
I wanted to hum it though.
As you figure it out.
Dun dun dun. Yeah, okay, I got you. Yeah. All right, fair enough.
So similar to the Deep Ground Strikes Back stage, this is the ruined Shinra Tower. Unfortunately, we're not going upstairs, we're going downstairs. So we're going to be seeing a brand new area of the Shinra Tower that we haven't seen before.
Absolutely. And I think there's some movement here, right? So we can probably get in a donation.
Absolutely. We have $10 from Dell, who says, for DynamiteDanTNT, absolutely wild speedrun skills at play here during Dirge of Cerberus. The button mashing is incredible. Bravo.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, the kick up. I love it.
So a lot of this section is mainly just running past a ton of enemies. We're going to sneak around to pick up some items, like there is a 1,000 gil just over these lockers that we're hopefully just...
Darn it.
Didn't fall on it, but it's okay. We don't need it.
Yeah.
It's mainly just an extra thing. There's a bunch of red potions back there, which red potions are an RNG potion. It can be anywhere from a potion, not with a P, with a B, a potion, up to a full heal X potion. So it could be 1 HP heal all the way up to full heal.
I thought it was pronounced potoin.
In Japanese, it is potoin.
Oh, okay.
But I believe in English, they called it a potion.
Okay.
I think you have that backwards.
Do I?
I think it's the other
is
way
it?
around.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. Yeah, because I was going to say, I'm pretty sure I read potoin. And it's just there to ruin your rank on the next mission.
Yep. So funny enough, with the ranking system, if you actually use the potoin or the potion, you will actually receive negative score.
It's great. Here's the double Black Widow fight as well. Dan's going to line up a Thundaga shot.
If you guys didn't see it the first time, here's 3 more seconds.
Yeah. Bam.
All right.
Done.
3,
Gone.
2, 1, and we don't care about him anymore. Oh, I guess we do care about it because, again, Dan is farming extra gil off the
there we
death
go.
animation.
Yeah, very nice. Quick kill.
There's always gil to be gained.
They can dirge, but they can't hide.
Need to dash faster, stack gil higher. Think more, talk less.
Dirge more. Talk
Dirge
less.
more, talk less.
All right.
So the rest of the stage is going to be more of the same. We do not care about most of the enemies anymore because of the Shrike fight giving us the 75,000 gil.
Yep. And I think that we are coming up on... Is this elevator? No, it's not elevator. Okay.
Almost.
Almost there.
Yep, so this is just going to be kind of just more city dashing, which, like, to be honest, a lot of time save in this game is by having, like, very precise and clean city dashing. It's incredible the amount of time that, you know, top runners will save over somebody like me who's been only running the game for a couple of years. And, like, I wouldn't say I'm, like, terrible at city dashing, but Dan and NT and City Hall and Shademp and Ganma are all just incredible at movement in this game, and they just save a ton of time. All right, it's time to stretch, everybody.
Stretch break.
Does everybody have their water? Drink your water.
Drink your water.
Come on,
stretch,
everyone.
everybody.
So it's a good
Everybody
stretch
want to
break.
stand up and stretch? Yeah. Yeah. Sel, if you want to take it away with some donations as well.
Absolutely. We have a ton of love coming in for that Fight Sauron incentive. We are less than $1,000 away from meeting it, thanks to folks like Dr. Meaty with $100 who says, gotta see that Sauron fight. And $50 from J&A who says, one does not simply fight Sauron unless we hit that incentive. We can do this. And $100 from Amelia who says, don't miss those incentives. More games equals more fun.
All right. Thank you so much, Sel. You've been great this run. I appreciate you. And thank you, audience, as well. You've been awesome, too.
One more thing I'd like to tack on to Cosmic's explanation of the City Dash is that you may have noticed this game does not always run at a stable frame rate, which introduces dropped inputs. So something that is very hard to take advantage of with City Dashing is that you have to hit a vertical minimum for Vincent to be able to cancel his height and go back to the ground. So if you aim too fast after leaving the ground, you'll actually end up doing a full jump. So if you have a dropped input, you may end up doing that instead. Dash jumping is actually a earlier version of the City Dash. City Dash was evolved off of it. So you're still moving faster, but you're just losing that little bit of time every time you have one of those dropped inputs.
Yep.
So being able to adjust to the game doing that is showing why Dan is a top runner.
Yeah, absolutely. This is also one of those rooms that's like really hard to just like squeak through some of the areas because enemies are just constantly body blocking you too. And up here we're gonna actually, the disc load screen. And then we're gonna shoot a Thundaga shot at these guys right over here. And then,
ooh,
nice.
Good save, Dan.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. I'm a dirge runner. I like living life on the edge.
So this is going to be another elevator, but this one's not a stretch break, unfortunately. Would have been nice to have two of them back to back, but the game decided that their enemies were actually going to spawn here. And Dan has to be pretty careful about when he shoots the enemies because there are mines floating around him the entire time. And this is sort of like a mini objective that the game wants you to do, but if we shoot one of these mines, all of them will blow up around us and we'll just die for no reason. So we're not going to do that. But when the soldiers that spawn
I do believe you take damage when you explode, Cosmic.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a vampire's weakness.
Explosions.
Yes.
My only weakness, combustion.
So again, we got to be very careful about how we get these headshots because the mine's hurt box is very deceptive in how far it stretches above and below them.
Yep. All right, you got them all though. Yep. So we're just gonna be waiting on this a little bit longer, but there is actually a mini skip that's coming up here. So the heavy armor soldiers that we will.
Oh, also somebody in my community wants me to shoot that. I'm not going to.
So there's going to be a small skip coming up here on the heavy armor soldiers. One of the armored soldiers will be standing in a doorway that will take a second to close behind him when he comes in to fight Vincent. Now with City Dashing, we can actually just scoot on through that door without having to do this fight at all because of how much the game does not account for Vincent's speed during City Dashing.
This is one of the rare instances in the game where we're not gated by an EM barrier. Rather, the door just locks behind the soldier. So it only unlocks when all of them
Oh, darn. Whatever.
Again, another very precise trick. You
Yeah.
have to be very on point with your movement to get into that doorway.
Yeah, there's like literally just a second to grab that. All right, so here we're going to build the chain for Archazul. And we're going to get it right on there. Going to grab the barrel and then shoot a Thundaga shot, or fire shot, I'm sorry, at that enemy. And we just need the 8 chain. So Archazul actually has 2 phases. We're going to get full heal here, so don't worry about his health. And then Archazul is going to say, there's nowhere to run.
And then he's going to do a little bunny jump.
Yeah, and then he's just going to shoot him in the face with a Thundaga.
He's going to do a little bunny hop, and he does it. Azul gets very excited about Thunder.
It's true. Yeah.
There's nowhere to run.
Boing.
So this will be the one time we truly get to see Galleon Beast. Most people who play casually say that this is their most hated boss because they can't do damage. Well, let us show you. This is how you do damage. You get the power cross, you select gun 3 because that's where the power cross is, and then you just tank. So it's a little bit of slap and tickle, and because we're Dirging, we of course win.
Of course. Can't stop the Dirge, man.
The Dirgemania came for Archazul. Now, as much as I would love to say through all the things that we've seen, this is actually the hardest part coming up.
Yeah, it's true.
This is Shinra's Dark Secrets. Or Secret?
Secret.
Secret. Singular secret.
They've got, I was going to say, they definitely have more.
They definitely have more than one
Gotta be
secret,
more.
but there's only one that we care about here.
Yeah.
So this is going to be a gauntlet of a stage. There's going to be a lot of zoom climbing, a lot of card key preservation, and a lot of chain shot setups. This is also going to be a point in time where we take the most damage we've seen in the game yet. And even being at 1550 HP, it's still scary.
Yep.
So first off, we're starting with the zoom climb. Normally, this would force you into a mini game where you have to shoot 8 gargoyles to get one of them to drop a card key.
Oh.
It's all right, you could just still skip it. Just hover over the barrier.
Yeah, it's true. Like, yeah, whatever. All right.
Whoa. This guy's shooting me in the...
That guy's being mean.
Yep.
All right. Nice. Good.
So
Awesome.
that's one, I believe,
work.
of 5.
Yeah. All right, so next here, we're going to be taking down these guys as well as a mine that's in the air. And then there's going to be one more enemy over to our right. It's because we're just clearing out enemies so that we can do the zoom climb without any interference. Because again, we have a card key here, but we want to preserve it for later. We want to make sure that we can use it on some very crucial doors.
The difficulty with doing zoom climbs when you have enemies present is that it is possible for Vincent to take critical damage, meaning he staggers. So if they were to land a critical shot while Vincent is in the air, it forces him down.
Yep.
And we obviously don't want that.
Not at all. So there's another card key we're going to get. Take out these dudes up here.
Thankfully, right now, our chain does not matter. We do not care to build a high chain. We are only looking to get through the enemies as fast as possible.
Let's go,
There
dude.
it is.
First try, dude. That is a very tough zoom climb.
All right, so we have a new enemy in this room. We call them the Black Armor Soldiers, as they have armor that looks black.
Yep.
What they do is they are impervious to gunshots. They either have to be meleeed or they have to be shot with magic. There is a commander in the center that we need to take care of as well, but thankfully, this is a room where last enemy killed will always drop the card key.
Yep. So we kill him early on, so he's not the one. He is not that guy. All right, there's the card key there.
And this one we don't care to preserve. We have all the ones that we need.
And then this area here, fortunately, we're pretty high up here. He's going to jump over that trigger that would normally spawn. Okay, well, they've spawned anyway, but it's fine. That guy spawned too, and then that guy spawned. They're all dead. It's fine.
Then we're going to do another slight climb into a hover over this last EM barrier.
Ooh, okay, nice. Good save.
You jinxed it.
My bad.
Who's shooting me? Oh, come on. There we go.
All right,
Nice,
we're
yeah,
clear.
There we go. Very good.
There's one more climb that needs to be done in Shinra's Dark Secret, but we're nearing the end of the difficulty. We have one more auto-scroller that we need to go through, and I realize I have not explained this mechanic as it actually hasn't come up yet, but there is something very neat I don't believe was in JP Original when Cosmic was explaining earlier, and that we don't have a roll, we have a dash. The dash actually serves a purpose aside from just throwing Vincent forward. There is a small window where you can actually deflect bullets. You'll see it with a blue tint and a little tinge wherever it hits Vincent, and you'll just completely negate damage. So there's going to be a couple guys that are following Vincent on rail cars with us. We're going to take them all out, and then there's going to be a chopper that spawns at the very end. The chopper has way too much HP for us to care about, so we're just going to tank all the hits.
So you're telling me that Vincent is like one of the only action game protagonists that wants to block bullets with his face?
Yes.
That's fair. Definitely. We got some time for donations here as well.
Absolutely. We have $25 from Morgan, who says, chaos. Followed by $25 from Jack Final Fantasy, who says, did someone mention chaos? I must kill chaos. We have $5 from Huge Nader, who says, too final, too fantasy, Tokyo Dirge.
All right, we got to give it up for that one.
that was
Yeah,
pretty good.
that was good.
And we have $77.77 from Calamity Nolan, who says, it's probably a mistake to cloud your judgment with bowed puns, but to erreth is human. So I know you'll grin and bear it. Good luck on the run.
Keep them coming, Sal.
$100 from Easy Run, who says, it's so cool to have a Japanese game with an Italian protagonist. This really dirges my Cerberus. Donation goes to the Destiny bonus. And $50 from Muffin J. Lord, who says, when I saw what was being played, I knew I needed to donate urgently. $50 towards serving up that bonus FF7 Power Wash Sim level. Time for more?
Yep,
Yeah,
go for
All
it.
right.
Yeah, absolutely.
$50 from Smaman, who says, what Simpsons character just thinks Final Fantasy VII spin-offs are neat? Merge Simpson. Yeah, that was bad. Feel free to purge this one.
Oh. You get one more, I think.
All right. We have $30 from Allison, who says, I love Final Fantasy VII, and I am happy to see Dirge of Cerberus at GDQ. Let's go, Vincent.
Let's go, Vincent.
Maybe 2 more.
All right. $25 from Who Grooves On. I am so happy to see Dirge of Cerberus here at SGDQ. I honestly loved this game so much when it came out and played it over and over. I loved finding all the collectibles to get the secret ending with Gact in it. I miss not being able to play it since my PS2 died. Loving this run so much. Thanks for doing what you do, SGDQ.
Oh my goodness. Gact mentioned.
Yeah, I was going to
Let's
say,
go.
shout out to Gact, dude.
We're spoiling a little bit.
It's all right.
Okay.
It's okay.
Keep it cool. Keep it cool.
Keep it cool.
Do you want another one?
Yeah, I get one more. Then.
All right, $25 from Carl Germ, who says, hey Dan, any chance you'll be running the Dirge of Cerberus Lost chapter that was exclusive to Amped Mobile and Verizon phones in like 2006? Seems like a free world record. So excited you're running Dirge at GGQ. Best of luck, buddy.
I'm going to be
Carl.
real. I think Shademp is the only one of us that knows about that game's existence because I've never heard of that.
I have never heard of that until today. I was today years old.
He was like, did you guys know about the Dirge game that's on the Motorola phone? And we were like, what?
So unfortunate news, Shinra's Dark Secret is only half over. You thought that was difficult? Well, it gets harder from here on. This is where a lot more black armor soldiers are going to be appearing and a lot more heavy armor soldiers and snipers. So there are quite a few moments where Dan is probably going to dip very close to death. So again, keeping his finger on the trigger for the heals.
My favorite line, by the way, by Steve Bloom.
You know what to do, Cerberus.
You know what to do, Cerberus.
Speaking of
Dan,
Steve
go ahead,
Bloom,
yeah.
I was
Give
going to
us
say
the news there.
I was going to say, speaking of Steve Bloom, Dan.
Oh yeah,
is-
so
Go for
I
it,
am
yeah.
one of the only runners of this game. Not to say that there are a lot of runners for this game, but who has been given an official congratulations on getting the world record by Steve Bloom.
Yeah, give it up for that.
If it isn't noticeable, Steve Bloom is the voice of Vincent Valentine in this
Yeah.
game.
I mean, it was also everywhere on the PS2.
All right, so this is one more instance of keycard preservation. We're going to run back up to the top of the stairs because that gives us a little bit of a height advantage. The less height we need to gain for a zoom climb is way better for our stamina.
Nice.
And this room is a little tricky because the box geometry does extend upwards.
Nice.
Let's go, Dan.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so here we're going to grab a limit breaker as well. We're stocking up all these for the late game.
I did say Galleon Beast won't return, but I didn't say Limit Break won't return.
Tricky, tricky. So we're going to grab that card key right there, and then we're going to hit these two dudes with a Thundaga shot. Bada bing, bada boom. And we're going to move on through. So this section right here would typically be like a shooting gallery turret section where you'd have to destroy some mines and stuff that were flying at you as well as some other enemies. But because we preserved those key cards, we don't got to do it.
That's a
We
minute
can
saved
just-
right
yeah.
there.
So there was the first part. And then this next section here, this would be like normally a bridge fight, again, where you would have to fight a bunch of enemies.
6 waves of enemies,
Yeah,
I believe?
6 waves of enemies, as far as I remember, yep. But again, because we preserved those key cards from earlier and then just zoom climbed over the barriers, we're done.
Another minute and a half saved right there.
Now, moving into this section right here, there's going to be a little bit of movement here. This is definitely a section of the game that just wants to anger you a little bit because there's going to be like some decoy items here, and I forget if like one of them explodes on you or something, but there's only one object here that you need to worry about, which is the card key.
Yeah, so that jukebox, that briefcase, and that box were all fakes. Enemies were contained inside all of them.
Yep.
This section of Shinra's Dark Secret is really just about trolling the player. So you can see there's mines that Dan has to jump over. There's an explosive barrel that he shot that would have dropped on him had he not. You just got to jump over these boxes. Now there's going to be explosive barrels like this is Looney Tunes getting thrown in through the window. And now for my favorite part of the game, what I have dubbed the Courtyard of Death. So when I said that Dan is going to take a lot more damage, watch his HP melt. He's almost dead already.
Good.
There's a load wall here, by the way.
You have to touch that load wall, or else it's just going to stand there. There's normally about 9 enemies in there, plus a turret, which is what chunked him so heavily. But thanks to keycard preservation, we don't care about that anymore.
Not at all. So we're just moving on to the boss. And the boss here is going to be Nero the Sable. Do you actually want to talk about Nero?
Nero the Sable is my favorite character in this game.
He's awesome.
We were talking about edge earlier. It doesn't get edgier than having wings that have guns in them. So Nero is our trolley person. As you can see, there's a card key right in our face. He's the one that's been setting all the traps. And he used to have a chance to be a troll right at the start of our boss fight. If he does a jump, he's actually invulnerable. But Dan recently discovered that there's a way to make it so he never jumps. So we are out trolling the troll. And then after he gets 1 or 2 shots, he's going to split into 3 forms. His 2 clones, thankfully, have very little HP, and then it's just face tank the rest of the fight and shoot him down. This is unfortunately one of the only fights in the game that we cannot chain shot, because he is similar to Rosso in that he's hard-coded to have a HP barrier here to get this clone out, and limit flexing does not overcome it.
So there they are. Just going to take them down with a couple of shots.
Wait a second, isn't this guy an intergrade?
Wait, are you telling me they put the guy from Intergrade in Dirge of Cerberus?
Perhaps. Yeah, I recognize that. So he's down, though. Good fight, Dan. Awesome stuff. All right, so
we are 3 levels away from the end of the game. This will be the last level that we play as regular Vincent.
Regular Vincent, yep. This is called Beginnings. And this is a pretty neat level. I actually like this level quite a bit. There's some neat verticality to it and everything. You notice here, too, that Dan has been leveling up the last few times. It's because we have everything that we need for the rest of the game. Cerberus is completely powered up, and it's ready to dirge, so we're just going to level up and just take some extra health.
The levels do help aside from HP. There is a very, very slight damage bump, but again, we don't really care about it. We're just trying to get through that menu as fast as possible, so just letting it hover on take the XP as the default and taking it is all we really care about.
Yep, absolutely. So while we're doing a bit of movement here, Sel, we can get in a couple donations.
Absolutely. We have $7.77 from Tempest Mass 1000, who says, I may be a bit of a devil hunter, but I do know all too well that it's always time to dirge. Shout out to Dan for running this game, and props to the homies, Maxi and Cosmic. Keep on slaying good until a jackpot hits home, you 4. And we have $50 from NB2K, who says, I'm Commander Vincent, and this is my favorite dirge on the Cerberus.
I gotta give it up.
That's great.
I gotta give it up.
I also want to remind folks that we are less than $1,000 away from reaching that Fight Sauron incentive for Middle-earth Shadow of War. Keep on going. I know we can hit that really, really soon.
Yeah, let's go Twitch chat. I really want to see. Let's go Dirge. All right, so getting into this enemy right here. This enemy drops a key card, and Dan's gonna hit him with. Actually, that's
Next room.
Next room.
Next room.
I'm getting ahead of myself.
Yeah, this is a
Pardon
central
me.
room.
Whoa.
There's about
Whoa,
12
whoa.
soldiers on the central pillar here that are all just trying to shoot at Vincent. It is very easy to take a lot of damage, especially from the bazooka soldiers, as any rocket shot will knock down Vincent, which just causes him to take more damage as he's sitting there helpless on the ground.
Yeah, we did cover that. When you explode, you do take damage.
You do take damage. Unfortunately, vampires are not immune to explosions. So, Cosmic, as you were trying to
Yes,
say.
as I was saying, there's this enemy here that has a key card, and Vincent's going to hit him with some Thundaga shots here. Poink. Boink. And there is a chance for that key card to fall all the way down to the bottom of the level. So that's why Dan was actually delaying his Thundaga shots, because if you bounce that dude too high, there goes the key card, and you have to reset the checkpoint.
We have yet another unique room coming up. We call it the Bug Room. This is one of the very few rooms where we can actually force an EM barrier to not come up. So long as Dan never touches one of these bugs, it's a very precise movement to keep this quick. And he's through.
He got it, nice. That wasn't a bug, that was a feature.
And lo and behold, our last zoom climb of the run. This is the most important zoom climb, as this skips a boss.
Yep. All right.
And he's through.
He did it, let's go.
Give Dan a giant round of applause. All those zoom climbs are incredibly difficult, and to do it live, it's just an even bigger pressure that I can't imagine.
Now I can actually chill. What's up, guys?
Hey Dan, how you doing? Welcome to GDQ. How you feeling?
Pretty great.
Awesome, dude. You've been killing it.
All right, so Nero is coming back in his special form. This is Iraq Nero. I think you might be able to guess why.
It's because he's a scorpion, right?
You're close. It's very
Okay,
close.
fair.
Unfortunately, it's a spider.
Oh, okay.
You might have caught that by the Iraq part of the name. Maybe. So we're going to try and do a very, very specific setup to get a chain shot on the boss itself. So Iraq Nero protects himself with a shield. When I was talking earlier in the game, objects count towards your chain shot. So that is not what we're looking for. So we don't care that the shield goes down. We're trying to get one of those crystals to do its laser shot. When it returns, Dan needs to hit a very specific gun timing to make sure that the next crystal pod cannot do its laser attack and also get the shield back up in time. So the chain is more for the next fight, which is Gorgon Nero rather than Iraq Nero. Thankfully, this chain shot is pretty much meaningless.
Yeah, fortunately. Yeah, this just means that we're going to have to shoot Gorgon Nero twice instead of once, so nothing doing, really. Gorgon Nero here, he can teleport around to various locations, and the first time here, you know, he can actually teleport right next to you, but the first point here, we're just going to hit him.
Give him a little quiet time to hear the teleport.
Yep, my bad.
Bottom left? Yeah.
Thank you.
Nice. And he's down. Very cool. And that is really the power of, like, you know, this fully upgraded Cerberus that we have. That was no chains at all. And Gorgon Nero, who's a near-end game boss, you know, just goes down in 2 shots. So we're going to now get into Vice the Immaculate.
So this is the hardest boss before we change into our special Vincent. This is going to be a very difficult fight.
I hope I don't die on this.
Yeah, so again, let's do a little bit of quiet time once we get near the boss. So while we're waiting for this to load in, I can now drop the spoiler of the story, the only one that I know. It was Hojo all along. Vice is not Vice anymore. Hojo is uploading his consciousness into the internet, as they call it. In other words, this is Mega Man Battle Network. So
My ultimate attack, I'm dashing at him. Why is he not dying?
So you might be wondering, why is Dan doing this? Vice the Immaculate is actually invulnerable. We cannot do damage to him. But now we unlock a very special state that only exists for this fight only. Vincent gets the pre-chaos form.
Yeah.
So the limit break no longer is for Galleon Beasts. It's for...
Unlimited bullets and increased fire rate.
I don't know, the Dirge of Mania mode?
Yeah, the Dirge of Mania mode.
So yes, all that happens now is that Dan gets infinite bullets and a slightly increased rate of fire. So all we're gonna do is face tank Vice as much as we can, avoid the knockback attacks, and pray that we do what we call going to the chair. We don't want him to go to his chair.
No chair.
No chair?
No chair.
No chair?
No chair, let's go. That was a basically perfect fight.
Absolutely. So now, Vincent has chugged an entire Red Bull and gotten his wings and turned into his Chaos form.
To quickly give the context for why we call it the chair. So anybody familiar with Kingdom Hearts will understand the term desperation move. So he doesn't actually have an actual set point of where he will do it. We call it a DM. And he makes himself invulnerable. He goes to where the reactor is, shoots out 3 missiles, and he's invulnerable the entire time for about 20 seconds. And he can do it up to 3 times in a single fight.
Ooh, not good. So here we are with more cutscene skips. And then we're going to see Vincent in his chaos form. And
so
he's
the beautiful part about this game is,
Yeah.
you know all that money building we just did?
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter anymore.
Doesn't matter.
We don't need it. We do not have access. Well, we do have access to Cerberus. We don't care about
yeah,
Cerberus.
it's not
We have...
powerful.
Let's
Death
see,
penalty.
does crowd... Oh, you gave it away. I was going to say if the crowd knew what the ultimate weapon was called. So we have the death penalty, which is Vincent's ultimate weapon from Final Fantasy VII. It one-shots literally everything from here on. The game was coded to be one-shot all these enemies except for the final boss. But let's not dwell on that. Let's just say it's because Vincent is just as powerful as he is.
Yeah, he's super powerful. So also you can notice here too that there is no more city dashing. We're just going to be mashing the dash button now.
As you can see, the dash is way faster,
Yeah,
recovers
it's
much faster,
super good.
and will actually be going slower if we start city dashing.
Yeah, and the cool thing about these parts too is that you can really kind of weigh risk reward on taking down enemies, because if you stun somebody, that's about the time, you know, that it'll take to pull out your gun and take it out. So you can save a lot of time by just, you know, juking a lot of these shots, but sometimes you do get comboed a little bit. But Dan, like for example, is going to shoot that enemy there to make sure that he can just scoot through unharmed, and otherwise he could lose a lot more time than he could save just by trying not to take it out.
And we are in the point of the game where EM barriers no longer exist. We're just mad dashing to the end of each section.
Yep.
There will be an EM barrier that pops up once he gets to this helipad, but there's just 11 enemies that he needs to shoot down. And there's a very cool pattern to it. So it's a 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, reload, and then just pop the last 2. 3.
Yep. And then everybody's going to get introduced to Gact here, I think.
I also have to put in my fun fact that Shadem told me, and that if you noticed Dan's bullet count was 160, that is not a random number. That is actually based on your chapter ranking up to this point in the game.
That's right, it is.
So if you were to C rank your entire way through the game, you'd come in here with like 80 death penalty bullets.
Oh no. So here's where more of the cool music kicks up, and you hear your guitar kick in. Ooh. Gact time. Now we're really dirging.
So Dan taught me this one. This is a fun thing. This is an auto-scroller where you don't need to do anything.
Yeah, you don't need to shoot anybody.
Yeah, I'm chilling.
After this little auto-scroller, we're going to be locked in a very small room. Just, again, kill every enemy that we see. The trick to this room is that new enemies don't spawn until one is dead. So thankfully, we can do a pattern where we can shoot them basically as they spawn.
There we go.
Perfect
And they're
room.
down there. Very nice.
Now we have 2 more rooms before the end of this chapter. This is a big spiral. Dan is just going to be ignoring every enemy that he can. Hopefully that none of them shoot him, rather. And then we're just going to end the stage. So Cell, take it away.
Absolutely, and I just want to announce that we have hit $480,000.
Let's go.
We have $50 from Moshu, who says, Dirge of Cerberus was my first spin-off Final Fantasy that I had the pleasure to play, and I'm excited to see it run on the big stage. We have $25 from Squado, who says, had the urge to watch some Dirge and donate because of the cool prizes. And $25 from Genova Life 1, who says, I see Final Fantasy, I donate. And a quick update on that Fight Sauron incentive. We are so close, everyone. We are less than $700 away from meeting it. Can we meet that before Middle-earth starts? I think we can. Don't forget, scroll down, assign your donations towards that incentive.
All right, and so we're going to be getting into the last level of the game here. This is called Omega. I was called Omega and Chaos. What
Say it
was
with me,
called?
guys. 1, 2, 3. Crystal Feelers, Orange
Orange
Peelers.
All right, so this is a finale chaotic. So the reason why, let me give the context. Hold on, crowd. I understand you're very confused by this. There's a reason why we call it Orange Peelers. So this is a 3-stage stage. Yes. So Crystal Feelers work on RNG. They open up, they can only be melee. This is on a dice roll of a D6. So there is a 1 in 6 chance for any of these crystal feelers to open. We have had it where we get down to the final feeler and it takes over 40 seconds for that background dice roll to happen. I believe it's happening every 6 seconds.
Oh, wow. That
So-
was bad.
So you can fail, I believe it's 9 times is our record right now, and there's nothing we can do about it. So the orange peelers is it opens up like an orange peel. So we're praying to the Dirge gods that we have the orange peelers, crystal feelers.
There's an alternate version of that saying. It's Crystal Feelers Joey Wheeler, but
Yeah, and worth noting too that 6-sided die never is reduced like at all. For some reason, the game is just like, nope, just gonna keep rolling all those same numbers.
The second stage is the Omega Cocoon. It is honestly not really worth talking about. You can see it under the sea right there.
See, I thought that was the orange you were referring to.
It could be if you want it to be.
I think that is the orange.
Okay. Glad we figured out this mystery.
So all Dan is going to be doing right here is just mashing as fast as he can. It's going to phase change around 4th HP, and then we're getting into our real final boss. You can see that Dan already has 2 limit breakers lined up. It is the same thing as the Chaos in the Vice fight, where he's just going to be receiving unlimited ammo for the death penalty and having an increased rate of fire. So there are actually 2 hurt boxes on Vice. Vice is a physical person in the chest of Omega, and Omega's body also counts. So we're going to pop the limit breaker, go into first person mode, because that can help us get damage on Vice. You can have 1 to 3,000 damage. So getting into first person can help us try and get the 3,000 a little bit more. And time is going to be on the final hit of Omega Vice.
Yep, so coming up here in a few seconds.
And time.
Woo! I'm gonna dirge. Dirge.
Dirge, Dirge, Dirge.
All right, guys. Well, that was Dirge of Cerberus. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. Thank you for everybody donating. Shout out to my friends and family who are watching at home. Shout out to the Dirge community, especially Shademp. Shademp has absolutely broken this game in half ever since they joined our community, and I really, really appreciate them for that. Shout outs to these guys behind me who are sitting on the couch. I'm definitely asking production if I can take that very handsome couch with me home.
And shout out to City Hall.
City
as
Hall.
As well as Ganma. And, anybody else that wants to pick up.
And let's give one more shout out to DynamiteDanTNT for completing a very difficult run live
This guy
here.
right here. Yeah. Good stuff, Dan.
Thank you so much. Well, I think with that being said, we're going to move on over to Galadriel, the Blade of Galadriel DLC. So please look forward to that.